Hello, and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for listening in or watching. As you might have noticed, we've changed the format. Well, we haven't necessarily changed it. You can now listen in or watch the weekly podcast / video. So if you're watching, you can see some of my fur babies behind me. Yes, we have this beautiful. And for those watching the video, I'll take a picture and put it into the video here of all of our fur babies that we've had over the years. So you can see a few of them. I couldn't put the camera any higher. Oh, you couldn't see me. And hello, we got to see me too. So I will show you those. And if you're listening, please know I just have some very beautiful fur babies over the years. How the heck did I get so lucky? So let's talk about this week's show. Are you willing to brag about yourself? I know some of you want to stop it right now. You want to run away. You want to throw something at me. Maybe you even want to throat punch me. And I wonder, my sweet friends, I wonder what might be possible if you were willing to brag about yourself. I mean, really, what does that mean anyway? Brag about yourself. What does that mean? Now, I'll tell you what, I used to have really, really strong points of views about bragging. It was the worst thing on the planet, pretty much. That was my point of view. And then I attended a class with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and he was talking about acknowledging yourself, which in Access, that means basically the act of acknowledging. So if you're really good with numbers, acknowledging it. If you're really good with anything, acknowledge it. So it's the act of it, the acknowledging. You won't find that in a dictionary, but that's the word that we use that matches the energy. And so we were talking in a class and he kept saying, acknowledge yourself for this and acknowledge yourself for that. And I got really pissed. And it's not something that occurs for me a lot. Well, in the past it has, but what I did was I went to the microphone to ask him a question about it, and that is what doesn't occur very often, but I was that pissed with it. So I said to him, Gary, acknowledging, you're basically telling me to brag about myself. Oh my gosh, it was like the worst thing ever. This was back in 2015. And he said, what the fuck's wrong with that? And it just shook me for a moment. And I'm not sure where I ever got the point of view that bragging is the worst thing on the planet, but that's the point of view that I had. And so when he said, like, who the fuck cares? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I was like, well, and I had no energy to defend it. I had no way to say, well, this is wrong about it and this is like, it was just something that I picked up along the way. Maybe somebody said it to me. I don't recall. Maybe I watched a TV show where they made it wrong. Whatever it was, there was some energy about it that was just like, whew. And so when he said that, and then I just kind of like, it put me into a bit of a beyond energy because I was like, yeah, what is that? And then he ran a clearing that I to this day do not recall what it was that changed it. It was a very like religious clearing, which is really bizarre because in this lifetime I've never been religious. And so I said that to him, like, Gary, I'm not religious. And he's like, not this lifetime, maybe. And I was like, oh, and whatever clearing he did, which as I've never been able to even repeat because it was so bizarre to me. And it was gone. And then I started seeing acknowledging for what it was, which yes, people in this reality would call it bragging. And it can, there's nothing wrong with bragging because like really what I started to look at for myself was if I'm not willing to brag about me, who is? Who's going to brag about me if it's not me? I should be my number one cheerleader. I shouldn't wait for other people. If I'm not it for me, then who could be? Nobody. Nobody can be anything for you that you're not willing to be for you. So, and it's not that you have to like post on Facebook all, here's 10 things that are, awesome about me. And if you have resistance to that, I'm going to suggest you try it out. Now, maybe you don't have to post it, but at least write it out. Like, get into that energy where you see the magic of you, and not even see it, you know it. You actually know the magic of you. Whew. Everything that just brought up, will you destroy it, uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, pot, shorts, boys and beyonds. So that is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. If you're not familiar, you can go to theclearingstatement.com. And basically it just dissipates the energy that we have about things. And sometimes the energy that we have about things is not this lifetime. It's from other things. It's from other points of views. It's what we've picked up from other people. Somebody probably said to me once, you shouldn't brag. And then I went, oh, that's wrong. And then I solidified it so much so I couldn't have found the things. I couldn't have acknowledged the things that are magical about me or awesome about me because it was so wrong. Oh my gosh. And what if it's not? What if us bragging about us is one of the energies that contribute to changing the world? And I don't mean brag from the place of I'm better than everyone else. That's not the energy I'm talking about. It's acknowledging you. It's acknowledging the magic of you so you can say, wow, this is so amazing. In fact, I just posted on Facebook like 10 minutes ago a picture of me. I went outside and took a picture of all of my entire body, which is pretty rare. Usually I just do kind of waist up because of what we're using them for social media and stuff like that. But this time I specifically took the full body because these jeans that I have on right now are too big for me. How does it get any better than that? And so I put a post on there saying, celebrate with me. Because these jeans that have been on my Target jeans to get back into, when I tried them on this morning, think maybe I might be close. I'm not only too close, they're literally falling off, but not like falling down. Like I could probably wear them for a little while longer, but they're going straight. Once I wash them, they're going to go straight into the donation bag, of which I have a huge one because I continue to change this sweet magical body. Well, my sweet magical body and I continue to change together, and it's been an amazing journey. But I'll be honest, these past few months, the scale hasn't been moving that much. So that's why I haven't tried them on, because I kind of assumed if the scale's not moving much, nothing else is. That's a lie. Because everything is changing so much and the scale is irrelevant and I know better and anyway, here we are. So I put a picture of me full body with these, and of course, well, if I was more flexible, I could show you my shoes, but I bought them in Paris. And if you saw the picture on Facebook, you'll know what I'm talking about, but they are pink glitter. They are amazing. And I have no way to show you right now. Maybe when I do the video of the picture, I'll put the video of my shoes too. But anyway, carrying on. I put this picture of me and I said, celebrate with me. And I, explained why. And there would have been a time, guys, I wouldn't even have done that. Like that would have been bragging. That would have been unkind to the people who hadn't been changing their body and would like to, and all the things. Instead of recognizing that me celebrating me and inviting people to celebrate with me, yes, there's going to be people who judge that and say that that's wrong and that I'm bragging and that I'm whatever. There's going to be all the things. And I would like to celebrate me. So I'm going to allow people to have all the things, and the people who would like to celebrate with me, I'm going to receive from them also. So what if we could receive from everything? Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, putt, puck, shorts, boys and beyonds. Because truly, if you're not celebrating you, who can? Who will? How is it even going to be possible to celebrate you if you're not celebrating you? And like celebrating, bragging, acknowledging, whatever word you want to use with it, it's that willingness to say I chose something else. And not I chose something else, I am something else, I be something else. It depends on what you're sharing, of course. But what if you could see the magic of you and share it in a way with you that could inspire you to be more of it. So again, I posted on Facebook, but you don't have to. You don't have to use social media at all. You've got to find a way that works for you. And I was working with a private client this morning and we were talking about acknowledging, and she's like, I sit down and I try and I just don't know. And I said to her, and this is what I tell everybody all the time, well, maybe not everybody all the time, but you know what I mean, is that you want to get like a notebook or a note on your phone or your computer. And at the end of the day, write down 5 things that you bead, created, actualized, whatever, so that you can start acknowledging the magic of you. And when we do it with that, so let's say you're awake for 16 hours, if you look at the past 16 hours, it's much easier to say, oh, I apologized for being rude to, my kid. I had an extra client today show up as if by magic. Like, so in those whatever, however many hours you're awake, it's easy to make it a little bit more tangible. But if you kind of just try to sit down once a month and think of all the things, it's a little bit tougher. So if you commit to yourself to choose that once a day, you'll have so much more ease with all of this than if you try to just kind of figure it out or do it the right way. Just find a way that works for you so you can get in that habit and you can start bragging about you to you. Okay? Again, this is not about to anyone else, and it might show up like that. Once I got over the whole thing, once Gary said, who the fuck cares? And I just like, yeah, that's crazy. And then, so now I do post a lot on social media. I do share my successes. I talk about them on the radio show here, or on the videos, but I also do the other part too. So it's not like oh, everything's always perfect. It's like the whole thing. Here's where I messed this up, and here's how I changed that. So it's not the pretending that the bragging, the things we would brag about are the only thing going on in our lives. It's like, what if we brag about the things we mess up too? Like, what if it's not just the judgment? And I guess, you know what, as I'm talking, that's kind of the energy of it, isn't it? At least it is for me. The bragging a lot of times is from judgment. And that's the energy that I would say I was probably way more aware of, was the judgment that this is right. So, say if, my jeans being too big is right. So when they weren't too big, when I couldn't fit into them, that was wrong. So that's the energy that we would like to avoid, or that I'm looking to avoid. And I really do see it all. So when I didn't fit these jeans, I can't say there was no judgment. I'd love to say that, but I can't say that. But there was way less judgment than there would have been a few years ago. It's like, okay, cool. All right. So what's required then to be able to wear these jeans again? And take that action. And so if you kind of pay attention to however you're bragging or acknowledging or celebrating, whatever you want to call it, be willing to be honest with you about that energy, because if that energy is there, just, run the clearing statement with it so that you can have more space with it. Because that's the energy that's going to trip you up if you're like, okay, well, now I'm right. I got up early and worked out, so now I'm right. And tomorrow when I sleep in and I don't work out, I'm wrong. Okay, that's the polarity of this reality that honestly, it kills. It kills the planet. It kills us, that judgment of right and wrong and good and bad. That's why that's in the clearing statement. Right and wrong, good and bad. We're clearing the polarities, because if we were willing to be all of us as the infinite beings we truly be, would actually be infinite allowance, which means none of it is right and none of it is wrong. And there's still acknowledgement as part of that. Because the more we acknowledge something, the more that we can be it. If we don't acknowledge that we be something, then we actually have to bastardize it. We don't have to. We then bastardize it and we make ourselves at the effect of. So what I always say to people, if you have money problems, money issues, money struggles, whatever you want to call them, if you got those, then you want to be asking yourself, what capacities with money am I refusing to be that if I would be them would change this? What capacities with money are you refusing to be that if you would be them would change your money situation? Anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, receive, and be them. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, papak, shorts, boys, meons. Because the reason that you have the money things, the money problems going on is because you're not acknowledging the capacities you be. I know it's a bit of a mindfuck, guys, and it's okay. It's okay. Let it be a mindfuck. This isn't for your mind to understand. Just allow yourself to recognize that anywhere you're struggling in your life right now, you have capacities that you haven't acknowledged. So if you're willing to start acknowledging them, if you're willing to look at what you can be or do different in that situation that nobody else can, then you actually can start creating your life and living beyond what you've never imagined possible. Yeah. So, beyond what you've never imagined possible. This is also something I wanted to talk about. So, prior to me studying Access Consciousness, prior to 2011, basically is when I started, I did a lot of different modalities, and one of them was the law of attraction. So, that is where kind of what you focus on is what you create, and you want to have this kind of laser, at least this is the way I took it, this laser focused energy on different things or things you'd like to be or have or do, create, actualize. And I did very well with that. Absolutely. Everything, well, probably not everything, but I would say 90% of what I put on my vision board, I did actually end up actualizing. But what would happen is when I would actualize it, it would fall very, very flat. I would be, in a sense, disappointed isn't the right word, but it had that energy of like, is this it? This is it? And I mean, it sounds so funny, but I would then go into such intense judgment of me because I should be happy. I should be celebrating. I should be on top of the world that I created or beat or whatever this thing. And I had none of that. It was just like, this is it? And then I kind of judged that I could never be happy, that there was never enough for me and all the things. And then I started studying Access. And one of the questions that we asked, and I started asking very early, is what else is possible that I've never even considered? What else is possible that I've never even considered? So here's the difference for me personally between when I was doing Law of Attraction and that question. Law of Attraction was very focused on the thing, the very specific thing, whatever I had decided or concluded would make me happy or would be what I wanted or whatever it was. What else is possible that I never even considered goes beyond the thing that I decided or concluded, because it goes into the energy of I've never, or beyond what I've never even considered. So we're going beyond what I've considered. I've considered everything on my vision board. I've considered it all. I want to go beyond. What else is possible beyond what I've never even considered? So if that is not already a part of your day, at least 10 times a day, guys, you might want to consider adding it, because it is a question that can change everything. Because the things that we look at and we say, let's say you're watching TV and they get a brand new house that has, I don't know, an extra room, an exercise room, let's say, and you're like, oh, I need an exercise room in my house. That's what I have to have. Notice that's not a question. Okay, so it becomes a solidity. Now, it might be, that might actually create more. Who the heck knows? But when we go to what else is possible that I've never even considered, now we open it up to all the possibilities. So again, it might be the exercise room in your house. It might be, like me, I've changed my exercise room into my paint room because I go see my trainer. So who the heck needs an exercise room when you could have a paint room? But anyway, so what else is possible that you've never even considered? Oh my gosh, sweet friends, that you've never even considered. So, when we add that question to acknowledging all of everything that we be, the bragging that maybe you were like me and had resistance of, and maybe now you're willing to be the braggerson. What else is possible you've never even considered with that? But when you add those two together, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Because you're acknowledging your capacity, plus you're asking to go beyond what you've never even considered. So, for an example, let's say money was a thing for you, money was a problem for you. Now you're willing to acknowledge your capacities with money. You're willing to be all of you with money. You're willing to go beyond the crazy, beyond this reality, and it's just the choices that you're making and the willingness to acknowledge the capacities that you be, and you're just in the energy of it. Okay, so there's a spaciousness with all of that. Now, and I'm going to give you a moment to get there, the spaciousness of that. Yeah, so let's ask this. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you and your body be to be the capacities that you truly be with money for all eternity? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, so you've got all that energy. You're gone into the yumminess of it. Now, with that spaciousness, let's ask, what else is possible with money for you beyond what else is possible with money for you that you've never even considered? What else is possible with money for you that you have never even considered? What else is possible with money for you that you've never even considered? What else is possible with money for you that you've never even considered? Yeah. And you just keep asking that, and from a spaciousness. Now, some people like to run the clearing statement after that question, and totally, like, if when you ask it, you contract right away, like, what else is possible with money for me that I've never even considered? Oh my gosh, there's nothing possible. Okay, in those situations, run the clearing statement after. Everything that brings up, I destroy and uncreate it all, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyonds. However, if it's a spaciousness that it, when you ask it, there's space, and then you ask it again and there's more space, like that energy, you don't need to run the clearing statement after that. Only if you contract, then go ahead and run it. If you're not sure, just run it. You're not going to hurt anything by running it, but a lot of times, just kind of from that energy when you're being the magic of you, and then you're asked, oh, what else is possible here that I've never even considered? What else is possible beyond what I've never even considered? However you want to word, like once you do that more and more, you're just going to continue to expand and expand and expand. So you may not require the clearing statement. Just however you want to find to play with it, but use the two together. So maybe every night when you write out your list of 5 things, afterwards you could look at each of those 5 things. So let's say you put on there, you got a new client as if by magic, you found $20 in a jacket pocket, you apologize to your kid, whatever else. Let's stick with those 3. So then you'd want to look at like the having a new client. What I would do with that is, and what I do for myself with all of this is that sort of thing is like I write them down, and then what else is possible here that I've never even considered? What else is possible here that I've never even considered? What else is possible here that I've never even considered? So you could look at all 5 things together and ask that, or you could look at them individually and ask it, however works for you. And then imagine from that space, guys, going to sleep. And going to sleep from that spaciousness, from that truly what else is possible that I've never even considered. What else is possible that I've never even considered? What else is possible that I've never even considered. And you know, I find now with the COVID crazy and all of that, things are slower. You know, so you go to a certain whatever store and it takes a little bit more time. Maybe you're standing in line a little bit longer or whatever. Things just seem to be a little bit slower. And that's what I do in my head while I'm waiting. What else is possible? And you could put it specifically to something, or you can leave it open. What else is possible that I've never even considered? What else is possible with bragging about myself that I've never even considered? Because you know what? You're going to be standing there or waiting or whatever anyway, so you might as well be filling up that space with something that's going to actually create greater for you and exponentialize rather than the, oh, this is horrible and I hate this now and this is stupid and right? That's not going to be fun for you. So if you can memorize this question and just, again, I really suggest running it, you know, at least 10 times a day, not even running it, asking it and being it, like being so curious, like truly, what else is possible that you've never even considered? Like, how many ways can the universe surprise you today? Whew. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, fun, box, shorts, boys and beyonds. How many ways can the universe surprise you today? Have you even asked? Have you asked that yet? Universe, how many ways can you surprise me today? I mean, how much more fun is that than, oh, this is horrible, this is crappy, all that stuff? Like, truly, how many more ways can the universe surprise you today? And you can ask specifically, universe, how many more ways can you surprise me with money today? How many more ways can you surprise me with orgasmic energy today? How many more ways can you surprise me with the giggles today? I mean, whatever it is that you would like to have more of or like, universe, show me. Universe, how many? Universe, yes, please. Yeah, so there's your home play. Start bragging, my sweet friends. Please start bragging about you to you. Get a list, do whatever you need to get that so that you get into the habit of it, so that becomes your new normal. And then what else is possible that you've never even considered? So come and play somewhere, sweet friends, mostly online right now, but I have tons of online possibilities and of course online foundations and even in-person foundations. So if you're in Canada, come on over. I've got one coming up in October here at the Acreage, just outside of Edmonton, Sherwood Park area, and then in November in Strathmore, Alberta, and this is 2020, depending on when you're listening, or I've got a bunch of online classes that I would just love to have you come play. Have an awesome rest of your day, guys, and I look forward to chatting again soon.